What if the throwaway Tuesday you're living right now is secretly the scene that detonates the rest of your life? Picture the camera zooming in on you at 1 a.m., lights off, world silent, heart hammering. No guardian angel, no pep talk playlist, just a blank notebook daring you to write something raw enough to burn. Quentin Tarantino clawed his way out of a dead-end video store shift by doing exactly that, and tonight, the set belongs to you. The only question is whether you'll shout action before the credits roll without you. You've whispered it 1,000 times. I'll start tomorrow. Sounds harmless, right? Except every deferment is a slow-motion heist, and the thief is wearing your face. Tarantino knew that feeling too well. At 22, he was still stuck behind the counter at Video Archives, absorbing movies frame by frame while swearing the real work would start next week. Weeks metastasized into years until one graveyard shift snapped him awake. If he didn't hijack a single night, next week would keep him shelving other people's dreams forever. Delay isn't neutral. It's a vote for a future you never wanted. Each time you postpone the gym, the book, the business idea, you aren't just staying put, you're actively greenlighting the filler sequel of your own life. Think about how many names you know who once had talent but never premiered. You don't remember them because tomorrow buried them in the bargain bin. So let's rip away the safety blanket. You're not waiting for the right time. You are protecting yourself from the earthquake of change. Yet, comfort has a price tag, your unused potential, with interest compounding daily. Tarantino's escape hatch appeared not as a film grant or a fancy mentor, but as a spite-fueled promise to fill one spiral notebook before sunrise. That single dog-eared pad became the nucleus of Reservoir Dogs, and in turn, a $200 million career. Tomorrow didn't save him. A brutal midnight did. What's your midnight going to cost you? Here's the unglamorous toolkit. One pen, one cheap notebook, total silence. No Spotify focus playlist, no scented candles. Just the emotional equivalent of turning on fluorescent lights in a dingy interrogation room where you happen to be both suspect and detective. The assignment is simple and savage. Catalog every excuse, every fear, every self-sabotaging ritual that's bleeding your storyline dry. Write until it stings, then keep writing until the sting feels ordinary. Why ink? Neuroscientists will tell you that handwriting lights up the brain's anterior cingulate cortex, your internal error detector. That jolt of awareness is the same mental spark Tarantino felt, while long-handing dialogue so rhythmic it felt like outlaw poetry. When you scribble, "I'm terrified of failing," instead of typing a polite euphemism, your excuses lose their costume and start looking like the cardboard props they are. Remember, this isn't a vision board kumbaya session. It's triage. You're performing narrative surgery, isolating gangrenous habits before they poison another decade. Tarantino once admitted he was obsessed, maybe pathologically, with finishing that first script. Obsession isn't glamorous. It's fluorescent light at 3 a.m., veins buzzing with cheap coffee, a stack of ripped pages on the floor. It's facing the monster without makeup and deciding the story still deserves to be told. Here's your onset procedure for tonight. Ferzanti confession page, top to bottom. List every choice you know is rusting you from the inside. Doom scrolling, sugar binges, dating apps that feel like slot machines. Write it raw, no mercy. Second, fear close-up. Single out the scariest future that inaction guarantees. Give it dialogue, let it sneer at you. That embarrassment hard codes urgency. Third, micro decision. End with one action smaller than a tweet that you will perform before noon tomorrow. Cancel a subscription, set a 15-minute timer to outline a chapter, text the trainer for Thursday at 6. Make the cue unmissable. When Tarantino finished night one of this ritual, he didn't own a camera, a crew, or a dime of backing. What he did possess was a first draft universe so vivid it refused to stay on the page. That gravitational pull is what you're aiming for. A story strong enough to drag reality along with it. Fear won't leave just because you wrote it down. It will demand a cameo in every new scene. Take Tarantino's infamous Kill Bill car crash with Uma Thurman. He pushed for a risky shot, it went south, and she ended up injured. Years later, he owned the miscalculation publicly, even releasing the painful footage. Accountability, not ego, salvaged their working relationship. The takeaway? Fear shrinks when you wheel it into the spotlight and roll camera. Your equivalent might be confessing financial chaos to a spouse or admitting the side hustle is bleeding cash. Show the footage, then yell, "Cut!" You control the next take. Courage isn't the absence of dread, it's refusing to grant dread the director's chair. Think like an editor standing over a mile-long strip of celluloid that's bloated with dead air. Would you really keep every line just because you filmed it? Tarantino sure didn't. Pulp Fiction once ran almost 3 hours. He sliced more than 20 minutes, including an entire Mia Wallace backstory that he loved. Why? Because pacing is oxygen, and dead weight strangles momentum, even in Oscar bait. Your life reels are no different. Right now, they're jam-packed with shaky shots you refuse to delete. The late-night doom scroll, the just one drink that becomes four, the friend who drags every conversation into a swamp of gossip. Each one steals screen time from scenes that could actually move your plot. So tonight, open that notebook again and mark the bloopers you're sick of seeing. Don't pretty it up. Right, this habit is rotting my DMN storyline. Cut. The act of naming it is your first edit. The next step is raw subtraction. Uninstall the app, cancel the bar tab for a month, mute the energy vampire. Nothing new gets filmed until the garbage is off the set. Here's the Tarantino-esque twist nobody warns you about. The audience, your coworkers, friends, family, will fight for the bloopers you ditch. They'll say, "Come on, you're fun when you stay for another round," or "Scrolling helps you relax." Translation: keep entertaining us in the role we've already cast you in. This is where you channel the director's stare, thank them for their feedback, and leave it on the cutting room floor. Remember Uma Thurman once begged Quentin to preserve a dance hall scene he adored. He axed it the next morning. The film won Best Screenplay. Your future awards depend on the same ruthlessness. But that wasn't the whole story. Every colossal pivot you idolize traces back to a decision so small it almost looked ridiculous. Tarantino's came in 1991 when he sold the script for True Romance for 50 grand, peanuts by Hollywood standards. Friends called him crazy. He called it runway money. That microscore bankrolled pre-production on Reservoir Dogs, the Sundance bloodbath that exploded his career. 50 grand bought one warehouse location, 2 weeks of film stock, and a legend. Tiny hinge, giant door. Neuroscientists label this the behavioral cascade. One concrete action triggers a dopamine squirt, which nudges the next action, which triggers another squirt, and suddenly you're surfing a biochemical tidal wave. The opposite is equally true. Shrug off the easy win and you program your brain for stalemate. So forget the 90-day plan. Pick something insultingly small yet undeniably forward. Email a client, jog 1 mile, spend 10 minutes outlining chapter 1. Yes, 10. The power is in completion, not scope. Picture it like Tarantino's trunk shot, a signature camera angle he sneaks into every film. It lasts seconds, but viewers cue on it subconsciously. Oh, we're in QT land now. Your micro-decision is that trunk shot for your psyche. Do it tomorrow before 10 a.m., and your brain goes, oh, we're in change territory now. Fail to deliver, and the brain files you back under same old sequel. Tiny stakes, massive box office. And still, a chorus of critics inside your skull will hiss, who gave you the right? Which catapults us straight into the next reel. Tarantino pitched Reservoir Dogs to studios and was told, point blank, that audiences would never root for jewel-thieving psychopaths who yap about Madonna lyrics. He shot it anyway, maxed credit cards, begged favors, roped Harvey Keitel into co-producing, and rolled it at Sundance. Standing ovation, distribution deal overnight, permission granted after the gambled never before. Still waiting for a mentor, a market signal, or Mercury to leave retrograde? Here's the brutal forecast. The green light you crave will not arrive until you've already busted through the metaphorical barricade. In fact, the longer you stall, the more society drafts you into its background cast. Reliable employee, agreeable partner, polite dream deferrer. You become an extra in the blockbuster you were born to headline. Look around at people glued to autopilot. They're living out scripts somebody else mailed to them. Tarantino once said, if you just love movies enough, you can make a good one. Translate that. If you love your own damn life enough, you can rewrite it. Not perfectly, not safely, but vividly. And vivid beats perfect every single showing. So do this. Declare one boundary that scares you speechless. Turn down the safe promotion. Launch the blog with 0 followers, book the non-refundable flight to the film school audition. Don't ask your parents, your spouse, or your group chat if it's wise. Studio execs didn't okay the dance scene in Pulp Fiction. Tarantino jammed it in, and now weddings everywhere suffer through amateur Travolta imitations. Audacity ages well. Caution wilts. Here's the kicker. Refusing to seek permission doesn't make you reckless. It makes you responsible. Because once nobody else can be blamed for the outcome, every frame is yours to perfect. Or reshoot. That weight terrifies most people, which is why most people never lift it. But you're still here. That means the reel is still rolling. Every movie's first cut is loaded with cringy lines that felt brilliant at 3 a.m. Tarantino's dailies were no exception. Whole reels of dialogue sliced because the rhythm was off by half a heartbeat. Life dialogue works the same. Catch yourself mumbling, "I'll never be disciplined, I'm just not creative," or the evergreen classic, "It's too late for me." Those are ad-libs you adopted so long ago they pass for truth, but they're really just sloppy temp tracks. Consider Tarantino's own public bloopers, the foot fetish memes, the backlash over racial slurs, the Uma Thurman crash that nearly tanked his reputation. Instead of vanishing, he renegotiated the script every time, issuing apologies, clarifying intent, sometimes doubling down. He couldn't edit the critics, so he edited his next line. You can do the same. Identify one self-defeating sentence in your daily monologue. "I'm terrible with money," for example, and recast it as, "I'm in training to master cash flow." Does it feel corny? Good. All new dialogue sounds fake until the audience, your brain, hears it often enough to believe. The old line took years to memorize. Give the rewrite at least a season before judging its box office numbers. Tarantino loves the split-second insert shot. A coffee cup, a katana hilt, a bare foot tapping. Images that flash so fast you barely register them, but later realize they choreographed the entire scene. Real life hides a similar insert. The silent frame when you wake at 4 a.m. and sense time racing away. No swelling soundtrack, no cheering crowd. Just raw quiet that asks, "Is this really it?" Most people drown that frame in Netflix or NyQuil. You're going to freeze on it instead because that single beat of dread is your most honest note. Feel it, then pin it to the page. I can't stand the idea of dying in chapter 2. Congratulations. That sentence is your new story engine. Warning though, once you expose that terror, you lose plausible deniability. You can't claim ignorance the next time you reach for the snooze button. Pretend you didn't hear it, and the universe plays dirty, piling on more reminders, missed birthdays, gut check doctor visits, watching someone your age lowered into the ground. Ignore enough inserts and the film jumps straight to end credits. That's why tonight matters. Editing later is an illusion. Later lives on the cutting room floor with every abandoned dream. So here we are, final reel spinning, projector heat licking the celluloid. We've ripped out the rotten takes, cashed in the micro decisions, fired the imaginary gatekeepers, rewritten the worst dialogue, and held the silent frame until it screamed. What's left is the only miracle you'll ever need. Blank story space. Tarantino allegedly plans just one more feature, The Movie Critic, then he's done. A finite filmography makes every remaining shoot day sacred. Same goes for you. Maybe you get 40 more summers, maybe 4. Either way, tonight's notebook decides whether those days feel like a franchise reboot or a straight-to DVD sequel. Recap your action list. First, gut check, cut. Drop one habit, human, or hobby that's throttling your pacing. Second, micro move. Deliver the first 15-minute win before tomorrow's lunch break. Third, dialogue swap. Retire one defeatist line. Debut its aggressive rewrite. Fourth, silent frame. Sit in midnight stillness long enough to hear what scares you most, then use it as fuel, not anesthesia. Do those 4 and your life's trailer will feel unrecognizable in 90 days. Skip them in the film loops, duller each rotation, until nobody buys tickets, not even you. So, lights up, notebook open. The crew, that is, the excuses, the fears, the armchair critics, is restless, wondering if you'll really call action. They've bet good money on another postponement. Prove them bankrupt, slam out the confessions, circle the cut list, ink the first micro mission. Then sign the page with today's date so future you can never plead amnesia. Remember, there are only 2 kinds of people in this multiplex. those who write their own story and those who watch someone else's on repeat. The ushers are dimming the house lights. Which seat are you taking? If even one line here hit like shattered glass, hammer it into the comments. I'm rewriting my story. That single public sentence is your first box office receipt. And if you crave more raw footage, no fluff, no filter, smash subscribe. Just know we keep it brutal in this corner of YouTube. No miracle cures, only midnight pages and unflinching edits. Now shut this video, kill the lights, pick up the pen. One night can flip the plot, if you have the nerve to stay in the chair until the final period. No more DMN excuses. Roll camera, rewrite.